It is perhaps one of the most important properties that the Walt Disney Company has, and they're releasing a movie rushed out to theaters this year to try to salvage 2024. Many people out there are reacting to the Moana 2 trailer. But, folks, we're here to give you insight in a way that you would not find otherwise. And in that regard, today we're talking about how this trailer was actually made for Disney's business partners. We'll explain right now. Hello, folks. Welcome back to the Pro Channel, where we explain entertainment, keep you ahead of the culture curve. We take it very seriously. Jonas J. Campbell is here, investigative reporter for thatparkplace.com and the YouTube channel. Jonas, how are you? Jonas, you were muted for the entire thing you said.
Sorry. Yes, I'm doing fantastic today. I feel like we are actually together through the power of the internet.
We all are, Jonas. We all are in unison. And boy, oh boy, what a day we have today, because we are flooded with Disney news. And folks, we are just the type of channel, just the type of team to be able to bring you what it all means. So everything from Nelson Peltz to Moana, we are going to cover it, we promise. And on that note, if you would like to find out what we think about Nelson Peltz divesting entirely from Disney and why it is a terrible thing for Bob Iger, no spin, folks, a terrible, terrible omen for Bob Iger, well, hang tight. We're going to cover it on That Park Place Live, as well as at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time right here on this channel. But Moana 2 is the subject for the day, Jonas, and we will not let them wait any longer. So, Jonas, many of the YouTube commentators out there, they're playing it and they're rushing, Jonas, because when one of these trailers lands, within 5 minutes, they've got to have their reaction video up. And so they're all happy and laughing and all this, and trying to make sure they get their early access. And I don't have any problem in this world with this trailer, but it's also not very inspiring or exciting either. And I think that is explicitly on purpose. In fact, I would say that Disney is playing it absolutely as safe as they can. And we're going to go through this and explain why, but Disney is doing everything they can to reassure their licensing partners as well as cinema owners that they are going to put out something that is universally beloved this November. Is that your assessment, Jonas?
I think you're pretty much correct, and I'll elucidate some of the reasons why I think we're in agreement here. There is absolutely nothing new in this trailer. Look at this. We got the kookaburras. If I click on any random frame here, you won't see anything new introduced to the Moana lore in this first trailer. In fact, it seems to be a promise that it will be as close to the original as possible.
Even to the degree that the goofy sidekick characters that we know about, I think they're in here for about 2 frames, and that's it.
Nope, I would completely agree, and they might be mistaken for generic villagers if those are the goofy sidekicks we're talking about.
Yes,
not,
it's the Lightyear formula. The Lightyear formula where she's got to, and Maui, I suppose, have to take these goofy B-team kind of characters and shape them into form. But you're showing the sidekick characters here, and I enjoy the well, there's an in-joke that's made even to the licensing partners here that, the first time around we didn't bring the pig, and now we're bringing the pig. Don't worry, we're going to have the pig, the plushy pig. You'll sell the pig this time. We promise. Look how cute it is. It's the pig.
Well, Hey was an excellent character in the first one, and voice the chicken. It's actually a rooster, which, by the way, that also factors into the trailer that this is a male rooster. Whatever, but Pua stayed home, and Hey was a little bit crazy and launched a whole bunch of memes. I can't see that happening with Pua.
Exactly. Now, Jonas, you know some things about Moana, far more than the average person knows in terms of what Moana 2 is and what's been going on behind the scenes. I'm sure that you're going to be talking about that in great depth on That Park Place, but could you give us sort of an aerial view of what's been going on that we actually, in the last 48 hours, perhaps, have discovered through your investigations?
Well, one of the things that a lot of people are missing, the information about Moana 2, all the trailer says is that Moana 2 is coming, and it has the voice of The Rock and, of course, auli'i Cravalho. But the description of the video actually included the fact that they now have 3 directors on this film, not just the one that they originally stated. And I've been doing a little research into, let's say, the Rocky relationship. I don't want to say Rocky, but things have been changing rather quickly, and I've been able to investigate and see how things might have changed very recently, maybe even within the last 2 weeks at Disney Animation, which is of course now split up between two different studios, one in Vancouver and one down in Burbank, which is already a little bit dramatic to begin with. So if this film is successful, it will change the landscape for animation for the entire industry, not just for Disney.
So one of the fascinating things about what you've discovered is that behind the scenes, apparently things are being played so safe that even the people making this film perhaps feel like they are restricted in what they can do. And I would say that this comes across in the trailer, although I'm not sure that's a bad thing, because again, Disney does not want to be Mufasa'd. What are we talking about, folks? Well, Disney learned their lesson, I would say, with Mufasa, and that is they cannot take their biggest princess franchise, and it is. This is bigger than Frozen. This is bigger than Tangled. This is the big one. This is the big Kahuna, and joke intended, folks. But Disney cannot afford for this franchise to be ratioed and mocked online. So what they're going to do instead is give you the most vanilla nostalgia bait trailer they possibly can. And again, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Given the reception they've had for their most recent properties, this is the correct way to go about doing this. But Jonas, talk to us a bit about what you know in terms of the leadership behind this movie, perhaps feeling as if they're having to paint by numbers.
Well, there were some comments made by even one of their own directors that they were talking about looking forward to getting out of the chains and looking forward to being outside of Disneyland and doing something bold with creative freedom again.
How do you know that? Who are you talking about, Jonas?
Should I say the name?
Yes, you should. Well, this is just a preview, though. We're not going to go deep on it.
Dana Ledoux Miller is one of the new directors on this, and also one of the first directors in the film that does not have animation experience.
Wait a minute. A new director, you say?
That's right. Right. She's a mover and shaker in Hollywood, a part of the Pacific Islander community, a strong voice in the Pacific Islander community in Hollywood. But it sounds like she doesn't really want to be at Disney. And I'm not sure how much we should reveal here, but she was not originally on this project. And
who were the directors on this? We know one of them.
As of 3 weeks ago, it was just Dave G. Derrick Jr.
And that's why, by the way, Jonas, you and I have talked about in the past that this movie was being helmed by someone who had no theatrical experience, who was originally supposed to be doing a TV show and had been kind of brought in by the necessity of the business that is Disney, that he had to be making a movie now. And so now you're telling me that he's not
right.
The only director.
He was the head of story for Strange World, which, as far as animation goes, it was actually a good film. And they've added in Jason Hand it looks like on the Burbank side, and he was the head of story for Encanto. Head of story doesn't mean you write the story; it means you are in charge of storyboarding for the film.
Right, and we're talking about directorial theatrical experience. These are newbies to the director's chair when it comes to putting out a film.
Right, and we have some suspicions, and I want to be able to present the evidence today on That Park Place Live for some of the things that probably should not have happened over the last few weeks. But Disney is struggling, and that is very clear, and I hope to make that clear in some of my investigative work later today.
But it's also very interesting, Jonas, because just like this trailer plays it safe, and probably, again, wisely so, it's better to play it safe and live to have this come out to a big box office debut, and then we'll see what the film actually is. The reviews will affect, I'm sure, then the weeks after, but at least get your first big week. Don't get Mufasa'd. But it's interesting to see that, they're playing it safe when it comes to the directors. They had a white dude making a Moana movie, and he wasn't supposed to be a white dude making a Moana movie, but he was a white dude making a Moana movie, so they fixed it. They got 2 more directors. They brought in somebody else who has experience in Encanto, but then they brought in a female Samoan director. Now, none of them have theatrical, directorial resumes.
Bro, I hate you're going to have to edit this. David G. Derrick is Samoan.
Wait a minute. Derek is Samoan too?
Yes.
What's his name?
Dave G. Derrick, but he's Samoan. He talks about he ever since the first Moana, he's been talking about his Samoan ancestry.
You have taught me something new right in the middle of this video, Jonas. This is amazing. So then, Jonas, do you think that this female director, do you think she was brought in then to provide female perspective specifically? Do you think they decided that two guys couldn't be in charge of Moana 2?
Oh no, I think it's even worse than that. And this definitely affects the production of the live action Moana remake that is supposed to be underway. But there's so much that I want to talk about, but I'm going to have to talk about it on That Park Place Live.
Well, that's what I was going to say. That sounds like the kind of conversation that folks out there watching this video are definitely going to want to know about, and I'm going to be tuning in as well. I have not been able to follow necessarily the background for Moana 2 as well as I would like to, but you have been filling in that gap for me, and I'm very appreciative. But Jonas, your thoughts on the financial outlook for this film based on the trailer? Do you think the strategy of playing it safe so that they can hopefully have a big opening weekend, is that the way to go, or should they have done something more that would excite the crowd? I frankly don't think they have to do anything other than put this out there and shut up. That's probably the best thing they could do, is just put it out there and shut up.
I think that's probably correct. I would just remind everybody that the original Moana made $687 million at theaters. Not anything that you want to write home about as far as big box office numbers and blockbuster numbers. But Disney tries to make these things so that they can merchandise them forever, so they can build theme park attractions after them. Not water fountains, by the way, but actual theme park attractions. So they don't actually have that high of a number to get to. But if they're trying to make this into $1 billion feature, then they're going to have problems. If they can just keep the costs down, keep them reasonable. They've already shifted the costs away from Disney Plus by taking it from a TV release and put it into the movie theater release box. So there's already a financial win for them, because they got to say, oh, we're this much more profitable. All they did was shifted the money from one pocket to the other and try to pretend that other pocket wasn't spending money. With this one, they just need something solid that people don't hate.
Quite the bar to pass over. But so, Jonas, here's something that people are not going to hear probably anywhere else. And that is that Moana 2 is a movie that has the potential to impact whether or not Nelson Peltz gets back into a proxy battle. And let me explain why. So Nelson Peltz he's just divested from Disney. And there are people out there who are saying, oh, they're wrong now. No more proxy battle. He's not coming back. Peltz is defeated. We've heard this all before, folks. We're going to do a video later today giving you the full details of this, but this is not something new. This is exactly what we have been anticipating, because this is exactly what Peltz did the last time. You see, when Peltz gets rid of all of his shares, he's doing so, one would assume, if he's taking care of his investors, because he believes the Disney stock is going to drop. And then when it drops, he probably might get back in, and maybe if he does another proxy battle, the stock will go back up, as we watched once more. And if that happens, he'll make a ton of money for himself and for his investors. That said, Moana is now looking more and more like the only movie Disney has on the docket this year that really has a great shot. I'm feeling more and more apprehensive, not anxious, folks. I never do that. Apprehensive about Inside Out 2, and I think Disney should as well. We already saw Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes fail and be a flop at theaters. And so we're getting now into a time when Disney has very little to hang their hat and their hopes on. So what we're watching here is, if Moana 2 were to fail, and with Mufasa being Mufasa'd, if Moana 2 were to fail, then I think that panic would ensue. This movie has so much riding on it. If it fails, then I think that everybody is going to be in absolute panic with Disney, and it would open the door wide for Peltz to come in for a hostile takeover, because he would say to himself, look, this is their number one princess franchise. This is the best-selling merchandising line they have. This is their top Disney Plus performer. If they're failing with this, then this is the opening. And maybe Elon Musk would do the same. Now, they're probably not assessing Moana to the resolution that we are, but they're probably looking at it as a franchise. They're looking at it as a property, an IP. And if this fails, amongst all the other failures of this year, it will leave Bob Iger in a very vulnerable position. And oh, by the way, folks, that's probably why this trailer is so utterly safe, and perhaps for a good reason. Jonas, what do you make of all of that?
I think you're absolutely right. And November, November is the time at which he will. November is the time at which he will actually be making his decisions about whether or not to engage in a proxy fight again. There's more to talk about the Nelson Peltz situation. A lot of people say he's getting out. I would say that he warned everyone exactly how he was going to handle it. Anyways, we're 16 minutes in. I could probably say that and not ruin the Nelson Peltz video here. But this comes out in November. Mufasa is in December. The real question is going to be whether or not Mufasa is the black rain cloud over the proxy discussion. If that ends up happening again, I think that it will. No financial advice, of course, from me.
Folks, you heard it here. Moana 2 and Mufasa. They will be the bellwethers for what's going to happen in 2025 in terms of where this stock goes. If those are damaged at the end of the calendar year, look out, Bob, look out. And that's why this trailer is the way it is. Folks, that's the kind of analysis you can expect right here on the Pro Channel. We love bringing it to you, and we hope now you understand what's really going on beyond the story, beyond the trailer. Folks, this is beyond where most go. This is frankly square in the middle of Bob Iger's desks. Perhaps he will get the memo. 2 showers, Bob, every day. All right, folks, more content on the way. You can help us move that content all across YouTube by clicking the like button, share, subscribe, click it, stick it to the algorithms. It is the notification bell, and drop a comment down below, low. Folks, you are the electricity. You make this video shiny. All right, folks, we will see you very soon. Check out That Park Place live today at noon Eastern. And wherever you are and whatever you're doing, keep learning, keep growing, and as always, keep having fun.